Hello friends, this video on life processes part 19 is brought to you by examfear.com. No more fear from exam. Breathe in. So let us try to understand the physical process of breathing, the physical aspect of breathing. Now in breathing, there are two physical processes which actually take place. One is inhalation, that means taking in the good air. Good air would mean the air which is present in the atmosphere which has a lot of oxygen. So taking in that good air. Exhalation means releasing out the foul air. Foul air means the bad air. Why is it bad air? Because this air contains more of carbon dioxide, and carbon dioxide is a byproduct of respiration. Due to the process of respiration, carbon dioxide is produced as a product which is no more needed by the body. So carbon dioxide becomes a waste for the body. So that is why it is said to be the foul air. So inhalation is taking in good air and exhalation is giving out bad air. So we will talk about both these processes of inhalation and exhalation, and we will see what happens physically. So let us talk about inhalation. So what happens during inhalation? That is when we take in air. The diaphragm muscles contract. Where are the diaphragm muscles? So this is the diaphragm. So here we have some muscles. Now these muscles actually contract. So what will happen when they contract? They will come closer to each other. As a result, what will happen to the diaphragm? The diaphragm will be pulled down. You imagine the situation like this. Let us suppose this is the diaphragm and these are the diaphragm muscles. Now if these muscles contract, it would be something like this. The muscles will become shorter and as a result it will pull the diaphragm down. Now if the muscles expand, so they will become longer and as a result the diaphragm will be pulled more up. So when the diaphragm muscles contract, the diaphragm is pulled down. Now if the diaphragm is pulled down, what will happen? The thoracic cavity will increase, because if you have a structure like this, let us suppose. Now if this particular thing is pulled down, so what will happen? It will become like this. So the space inside has increased. So similarly here also the thoracic cavity will increase and as a result the lungs will expand. So the thoracic cavity expands and the lungs expand. Now when the lungs expand means the volume inside the lungs increases. So the volume increases. Now we know that pressure is inversely proportional to volume, right? We always know since beginning that the product of pressure and volume is always constant. So if the volume increases, the pressure decreases. Now when the lungs expand, the volume increases and as a result the air pressure inside will decrease. So now what happened? The air pressure inside the lungs is less. So the air pressure here is less and the air pressure outside is more. So there is a difference in pressure between two regions. So as a result of this difference in pressure, air will flow from region of higher pressure to region of lower pressure. So this is the region of higher pressure and this is the region of lower pressure. So the air will flow in. And this is what happens in inhalation. Right? So air will flow from outside to the lungs. From lungs it will go to the capillaries, then to the cells, and in the cells the respiration will happen. Clear? So let us similarly look at the process of exhalation now. That is what happens when carbon dioxide is thrown out of the body. So in this case the reverse situation happens. Here the diaphragm muscles expand. So when the muscles expand, what happens to the diaphragm? Right, the diaphragm is pulled up. As a result, the thoracic cavity contracts. Therefore, the lungs will also contract and as a result, the volume of the lungs will decrease. Pressure being inversely proportional to volume, what will happen to the pressure? So pressure will increase. So the air pressure here will be more than the air pressure outside. So air pressure inside increases. So now air will flow from outside to inside. So that is why exhalation occurs. Clear? So now from outside it will come. So now from the inside cells it will come to the capillaries. From there it will come to the lungs. From lungs it will directly go to outside. So now you understand the physical process of inhalation and exhalation and how air pressure plays a role in the transfer of oxygen or carbon dioxide from inside to outside and vice versa. So now we have come to an end of the second life process, that is respiration. So what did we study in respiration? Respiration is about two things. One is exchange of gases, the other is oxidation of the food molecules to release energy which can be used for various metabolic activities. So let us have a quick review of the process of respiration. Now, air is taken in through the nostrils. Which is this air? This is good air which is rich in oxygen. So this oxygen is taken in, so it reaches the nostrils. From nostrils, it enters the nasal cavity. From nasal cavity, it goes to the pharynx. Pharynx is the common place for both food and wind. So pharynx sends it to the windpipe, that is trachea. Now trachea flows down the thoracic cavity, and as soon as it enters the thoracic cavity, it divides into bronchi, which enters into the right and left lungs respectively. On entering the lungs, the bronchi divide into further branches called bronchioles, and these bronchioles further end up in tiny air chambers called alveoli. Now, the walls of these alveoli are connected to a network of capillaries, and capillaries are nothing but the blood vessels. So, these capillaries will take it to the blood, and through the blood, it reaches each and every tissues of the body, and from the tissues, it reaches each and every cells of the body. Now, inside this cell, what will happen? Inside this, in the cytoplasm of this cell, which process will take place? Glycolysis will take place. Right? In the cytoplasm, glycolysis will take place where the glucose will get converted into pyruvate. Correct? Now this pyruvate had been waiting for oxygen because it needs oxygen for oxidation. So once this oxygen comes in, what is coming in right now? It is oxygen which is coming in. So this is all oxygen which is coming in. Now once this oxygen arrives, the pyruvate becomes extremely happy. So the pyruvate goes into the mitochondria of the cells. And then in the mitochondria, aerobic respiration will take place. I have discussed this in detail, right? So in their aerobic respiration will take place and energy will be released. So this energy will be released in the form of ATP molecules, and as a result of aerobic respiration, another byproduct will be formed, that is carbon dioxide. But we do not want this carbon dioxide. So this carbon dioxide is a waste product for the body. So what will the cell do? These cells will throw this carbon dioxide out and it will send it back to the tissues. So what will the tissues do? The tissues also does not want this carbon dioxide. So the tissues will send it back to the blood. Blood means the blood vessels. I am not talking in detail about how it is getting transported because that part we will see in transportation. So there again the capillaries, that is the blood vessels with the thinnest walls, will carry it, and the capillaries then will exchange or will give this carbon dioxide to the alveoli. The alveoli will give it to the bronchioles. The bronchioles will then give it to the bronchi. The bronchi will then send it back to the trachea, which will again send it back to the nostrils. From there it will go to outside. So what went outside? Carbon dioxide. So we see carbon dioxide went outside and oxygen came inside, and here the entire process of internal respiration took place. Clear? So respiration is about two things. It is exchange of gases and the internal oxidation of food to release energy. So I hope that this video on respiration would have helped you to understand the process of respiration. Now, what are we going to study next? Before that, a quick description of the NET process. So here, what is the NET process? We have seen absorption of oxygen, release of carbon dioxide. Now, you might think that isn't it not very risky for the lungs to handle this oxygen and carbon dioxide simultaneously? One is getting released and one is being taken in. Now, lungs always have some residual volume of air so that there is sufficient time for oxygen to be absorbed and the carbon dioxide to be released, because at no point of time it should happen that lungs are running short of air. So they should always have some air. So that is why they always have a residual volume of air. That means an extra volume of air which is always present in the lungs, so that the time which is taken for oxygen to be absorbed or the time which is taken for the carbon dioxide to be released, that time also lungs have some air in it. Okay. So with this, we will conclude our discussion on respiration. So now we will talk about. Thank you. Please visit www.examfear.com to watch more videos, attempt free online test, get free study material, find tutors and mentors. Thank you once again.